violence in Iraq comes as thousands of sailors from Naval Base Kitsap get ready to deploy to the Middle East.
It is an emotional morning for the 3,200 sailors on the USS John C. Stennis and their families. In just hours, the Stennis will set sail, head into the Persian Gulf.
The goodbyes that happened early this morning are nothing new for some. For others, perhaps too much to take in.
It's really hard. I got 2 kids at home, and I'm from Washington, so I have all my family here. I just left, so it's really hard.
I mean, just tell them Daddy's going to be back as soon as he can. You can't really tell them because they don't know how long is long. You know, she's not even old enough to know.
That personal sacrifice, that service, there's nobility in that. And I think the American people recognize that sacrifice, and that's one of the reasons they admire and respect the people in the military so much.
The Stennis will be at sea for about a month before arriving in the Persian Gulf. Once there, it will be clearly positioned near Iran.
We have trained and trained and trained so that we are completely combat ready. And when we get over there into the Central Command area of operations, we are going to be ready on arrival. And remember, the Carrier Strike Group brings awesome combat power to a theater. And we have that ability to have persistent presence, the Navy. We don't need a permission slip. We don't need a hall pass from a local nation for basing. We are ready, we are sustainable, we're flexible, and we provide awesome combat capability.
The USS Stennis Strike Group picked up roughly 2,500 troops from San Diego. Families hated to see their loved ones go, but they're proud of the job the sailors are going to be doing to protect their country.
I'm proud that he's going and he's doing a good job. He's doing a service. Not a lot of people want to do this, but he wants to, so I'm pretty proud of that.
The USS Stennis Strike Group is headed to the Middle East to bolster security in Iraq and the entire region.
There's 60 aircraft, 4,600 crew members. Now this strike group is headed to the Middle East in response to President Bush's call for more troops.
The John C. Stennis Strike Group will deploy over there in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, Operation Enduring Freedom, the Horn of Africa operations, and regional maritime security operations.
I guess there's gotta be a break in the monotony between us when it rains, how it pours. Now all your cars are stuck inside stuff for us, and you leave me. Yeah, you leave me.
We're here at Naval Air Station North Island. As you can see behind me, this second row of helicopters, all 7 of them, will be taken off in just a couple hours.
They'll take the aircraft themselves aboard, the aircraft and the pilots, once they get out to sea and they can fly aboard the carrier.
Ready for anything for deterrence or a humanitarian effort.
The USS John C. Stennis is now patrolling international waters south of Iran. The crew of the Bremerton-based aircraft carrier is bracing for anything.
All sorts of training is going on constantly. A carrier group like this is able to regroup to another mission in a heartbeat, if need be.
And that could quite literally be anywhere. The carrier group, a sophisticated nuclear-powered floating city with dozens of fighter planes, weaponry, and a small flotilla of support ships, is also keeping watch on the entire region, from Iraq to the Horn of Africa.
The Carrier Strike Group is a symbol of resolve and commitment on the part of the United States, that we are committed to the security and stability of this region.
Crew members here will tell you the level of tension in this part of the world doesn't deter them from carrying out their daily routine. Regardless of how they may really feel, life does go on here like clockwork, but with an intensity and the eyes of the people in this region are firmly placed on the movements of this massive airfield now in the Arabian Sea.
We are here right now to support the coalition forces that are on the ground in Afghanistan. But again, this is not about creating some large strike force to do any particular mission. It's the variety of missions and the need to meet all of our obligations throughout the region.
The John C. Stennis and its strike group is a very professional organization, and they're all orientated towards one goal, and that's mission support of those troops on the ground, and it's one team, one fight.
So our FA-18 Hornets, our E-2 Hawkeyes, our EA-60 Prowlers are in the skies right now overhead Afghanistan, prepared to deliver precision-guided ordnance on target, on time.
Rock away, bitch.
General quarters. All hands man your battle stations. Now set. Material condition Seabrook on all doors and hatches.
This is a TAO. Mines in the water. All hands brace for shock. Hit Bravo. Starboard side. Relax brace.
Investigators out.
But I watch the world flow to the dark side of the moon.
Bravo Fire reporting Department 1 at 179, Tech 0, Quebec. Hangar Bay 3.
I watch the world flow to the dark side of the moon. After all, I knew it had to be something to do with you. I really don't mind what happens now and then, as long as you'll be my friend at the end. If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? If I'm alive and well,
Alpha Fire reporting Department 1 at 179, Tech 0, Quebec. Hangar Bay.
Superhuman, my kryptonite. Call me strong, you call me weak, but still your secrets I will keep. You took for granted all the times I never let you down. You stumbled in and bumped your head. If not for me, then you'd be dead. I picked you up, put you back on solid ground. If I go crazy, then will you still call me Superman? If I'm alive and well, will you be there holding my hand?
DCA, Rito, all gear.
My superhuman, my kryptonite.
Here, President Order.
breakaway. All hands stand clear to starboard side.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vice President of the United States.
Thank you. A reception like that's almost enough to make me want to run for office again. I said almost. But I'm delighted to be here today, and it's great to be welcomed aboard this great American carrier. I've been in the Middle East this week for meetings with friends and allies, and on a journey like this, I always like to spend some time with the men and women who go to work every day defending the United States of America. So I'm delighted to be with this great battle group, the crew of the USS John C. Stennis, and the men and women of Air Wing 9. It's good to see all of you, and it's a special privilege to visit the Stennis. This is a fine ship's company. It's comprised of sailors from across the United States, from New York to Ohio, from Florida to Texas, from Missouri to California. Anybody here from Wyoming? Well, it's a small contingent, but it's quality, I can tell. You'd think it'd be bigger given the breadth of Wyoming's coastline and our maritime traditions. While I'm here, I want to thank the individual squadrons of CVW-9, Strike Fighter Squadron VFA 154, the Black Knights, VFA 146, the Blue Diamonds, VFA 147, the Argonauts, Marine Strike Fighter 323, the Death Rattler, Tactical Electronic Warfare Squadron 138, the Yellow Jackets, and Carrier Early Warning Squadron 112, the Golden Hawks. Sea Control Squadron 31, the Top Cats. Fleet Logistics Support Squadron 30, the Providers.
Small squadron.
And HS-8, the 8-ballers. As Admiral Quinn noted, and I've been around for a while, so long in fact that I even knew Senator John Stennis personally. But I've never been more proud of the United States military than I am today. It's an incredibly challenging time for the country, and there's serious work being done on many fronts. You're doing all that we ask of you, and you're doing it with skill and with honor. So I'm here to say thank you, and to bring greetings from our Commander-in-Chief, President George W. Bush. The last time I stood on the deck of the Stennis was 5 years ago during Operation Enduring Freedom. There's been a lot of activity in the 5 years since, and this warship and the JCS Strike Group have been at the center of many great events. It's not easy duty to serve in this part of the world. It's a place of tension and many conflicts. Throughout the region, our country has interests to protect and commitments to honor. With 2 carrier strike groups in the Gulf, we're sending clear messages to friends and adversaries alike. We'll keep the sea lanes open. We'll stand with our friends in opposing extremism and strategic threats. We'll disrupt attacks on our own forces. We'll continue bringing relief to those who suffer and delivering justice to the enemies of freedom. And we'll stand with others to prevent Iran from gaining nuclear weapons and dominating this region. These are important duties, and they must all be done at the same time. There's no way we could do it all without you and all those who have stepped forward to serve our country. America is a nation that keeps its promises, and for that we can thank the men and women of the United States military. Our presence here has been vital for many years, but never more than in the time since September 11th, 2001. The John C. Stennis was in the fight early, deploying to the Arabian Sea just weeks after 9/11. Since the war on terror began, this carrier has sailed thousands of nautical miles, and thousands of sorties have been flown from the deck above us. Thanks in part to this ship's company and to Air Wing 9, we've struck major blows against the Al-Qaeda network that hit America.
Yeah.
We've removed 2 dictatorships that sponsored terror, liberated 50 million people from tyranny, deterred aggression, and stood by young democracies, as America always does. The work goes on because the set of challenges that arrived on 9/11 is unlike any other this nation has ever faced. The war against Al-Qaeda terrorists is not a matter of finding an opposing army and engaging it or finding a navy and sinking it. The terrorist enemies are hidden and dispersed. They view the entire world as a battlefield, and that's why we're dealing with them systematically from Afghanistan to Iraq. This enemy is determined to commit indiscriminate murder against innocent, unsuspecting men, women, and children. They serve an ideology that rejects tolerance and demands total obedience. It's an extreme and hateful ideology, and what it's done is to drive 19 men to get on airplanes and to come kill 3,000 Americans. The terrorists who have declared war on America have made Iraq the central front in that war. Osama bin Laden and his lieutenants believe they can wear us down, break our will, force us out, and make Iraq a safe haven for terror. They see Iraq as the center of a new caliphate from which they can stir extremism and violence throughout the region and eventually carry out devastating attacks against the United States and others. The terrorists have stated these ambitions clearly, and they intend to pursue them with ferocity. The United States also has made a decision. As the prime target of a global terror campaign, we will take the fight to the enemy. We will not sit back and wait to be hit again. While the forces of violence inflict harm and grief on the Iraqi people, the citizens of that country have shown their courage and fortitude and their own desire for freedom and self-government. They defied assassins and car bombers to vote in 3 national elections. They have adopted the most progressive democratic constitution in the Arab world, and they have elected men and women to lead Iraq on a path to reconciliation, progress, and peace. Success in Iraq remains critical to our national security. The ultimate solution in Iraq will be a political solution, but that requires basic security, especially in Baghdad, where our troops are working beside Iraqi forces to carry out a new strategy. In our briefings in Iraq these last few days, General Petraeus underscored the fact that the enemy tactics are barbaric, that we can expect more violence as they try to destroy the hopes of the Iraqi people. But they told me as well of the progress that's been made in fighting al-Qaeda terrorists, seizing weapons, and getting actionable intelligence. The job now is to persevere in every area of operations, from Baghdad to Anbar province to the border areas. And I think General Petraeus' own words put it best. We cannot allow mass murderers to hold the initiative. We must strike them relentlessly. We and our Iraqi partners must set the terms of the struggle, not our enemies. And together, we must prevail. The United States of America has learned the lessons of history. Nearly 6 years ago, we saw that dangers can accumulate on the far side of the world, yet still find us in our own country. We've learned as well that terrorist attacks are not caused by the use of strength. They are invited by the perception of weakness. You and every member of our military can be certain that America will stay on the offensive in the war on terror. The Commander-in-Chief and his national security team understand the threat, the enemy's changing tactics, and its unchanging nature. We know that we're not dealing with adversaries that will surrender or suddenly come to their senses. So we'll be flexible. We'll do all we can to adapt to conditions on the ground. We'll make every change necessary to do the job. And I want you to know that the American people will not support a policy of retreat. We want to complete the mission, we want to get it done right, and then we want to return home with honor. Each and every one of you needs to know how much your service means to our country. We're grateful to you and your families back home, because they also make sacrifices for America. Our nation has accepted many serious responsibilities. To be credible, our forces must be able to deploy wherever they're needed, and this in turn requires the power to sail the oceans of the world in control of the surface, the subsurface, and the skies overhead. That's the business you're in. And when you're on board a carrier, the work goes on around the clock, 7 days a week. Each one of you is here for a reason. You have a job that has to be done well, no matter whether someone sees it or not. Your service makes a difference for a nation at war and improves the chances that one day we'll see a world at peace. You will always be able to take pride in your service in the United States Navy and Marine Corps.
Yeah.
This world can be messy and dangerous, but it's a world made better by American power and American values. The cause we serve is freedom. That cause is right, that cause is just, that cause will prevail. Thank you.
This is our city. This is me, Barrio. All the girls are pretty. All the dudes are super pros. Calling all kids, that means you. Slapping hands till they're turning blue. 'Cause this is our city. This is our home away from home. Give me your high five. Then we'll be home. Back in our city. We are united. Like the airline that will fly. When we're invited to the city of high five, we'll wait in line to get back in. Time for the pat down, fun to begin. 'Cause this is our city. This is our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Give me a high five.
this is the place we go. And it would be a pity if you never had the chance to know. We'll run around, slap lives all day. We'll high five all our cares away. 'Cause this is our city. This is our home away from home. Give me a high five and we'll be home. Back in our city. 'Cause me and you, well, we can't build this city alone. We can't build this city alone. We can't build this city. Well, now you're on the inside. Now you're one of us. Now you're on the inside of downtown High Five City tonight.
So fun, I can't control my
overwhelming. First time I saw it, it was just a lot bigger than what I ever imagined. Looking at pictures just doesn't do it justice.
The coolest thing was seeing the planes go off just now with the catapult and all the stuff that goes behind it. It's mind-blowing.
Sponsor, please tame your tiger.
It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for a civilian that's, never been in the military or didn't know too much about it. It's been a fantastic opportunity. Gives you a lot of appreciation for the guys in uniform.
After nearly 8 months at sea, a very happy homecoming today in Bremerton.
Some 3,000 sailors from the USS John C. Stennis returned home from war.
The Stennis supported troops in Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom, sending countless jets and helicopters into the war zone.
Let it go. Let it roll right off your shoulder, don't you know? The hardest part is over, let it in. Let your clarity define you in the end.
We were providing air support to our troops on the ground, both U.S. and coalition troops, and our sailors and our Marines did a spectacular job in supporting those troops.
I'm so happy to be home. I'm so happy to be back. I'm so proud of my wife.
And we talked about Daddy every night, and there was never a moment where he wasn't in our thoughts and our prayers.
It's a great day for America to have the Stennis home.
Everybody, welcome home.
Thank you for coming home safely.
It was my first one, so it's longer than I expected, but it was a good time.
Thank you to all of them, because I know it's a great sacrifice, and we appreciate what they do.
We are here right now to support the coalition forces that are on the ground in Afghanistan. But again, this is not about creating some large strike force to do any particular mission. It's the variety of missions and the need to meet all of our obligations throughout the region.
The John C. Stennis and its strike group is a very professional organization, and they're all orientated towards one goal, and that's mission support of the troops on the ground, and it's one team, one fight.
So our FA-18 Hornets, our E-2 Hawkeyes, our EA-60 Prowlers are in the skies right now overhead Afghanistan, prepared to deliver precision-guided ordnance on target, on time,